So we will get started. These days, everyone is talking about one thing, right? We all know that Corona. And everyone, people are getting vaccination and stuff, which is all good. But we also need to take vaccination so that our mind is not purified, isn't it? You agree with that? We take vaccination so that the body is not harmed. What about the vaccination for mind is not harmed? No one thinks about it. And so there are more problems happening because of mental disturbances like shootings and anxiety, depression, things like that. So what is that vaccination for the mind, for the consciousness? Shreya wants to answer.
Well, most people think it's therapy.
Mhm. Yes, most people may think like that. And what's the most therapeutic thing is to read and understand Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is like the manual of life. And the manual of life has the answer to all the questions. And that's what we are going to study today as well. So before we get started, any comments, any reflections from last time? We didn't meet last Saturday for Bhagavad Gita, but we discussed till text 59, and we are towards the end of chapter 2. So we will try to complete chapter 2 today in our study. We have read till text 59, and the goal today is to complete the remaining 13 verses. So anyone has any thoughts from 50 to 59th verse, which we studied last time? Anyone remembers? Any one or two things wants to share? Yes, Shital Mataji, please. Oh, I can't hear you. I think there's some. I could hear you before, but now I can't hear you. Maybe someone else, and you can type in your words. We'll read it out for you. But anyone else wants to say something? Anyone remembers what we studied?
I think we talked about the power, the material world, the power, like the pa, fa, ba, bha, ma in the last class. And we also talked about the symptoms of a person who is equanimous, the sthit pragya. So we started talking about that, and the question was, how does he speak? What is his language? How does he walk and sit? So the Bhagavan Krishna started answering his questions, Arjuna's question one by one.
Thank you. Very nice. So there were 4 questions asked, and in text number 55 onwards, those questions are answered. What are the general symptoms? We discuss about the tortoise example, also how the tortoise withdraws the senses, how that person is equipoised to dualities. Correct? Now, dualities, can anyone give any examples of dualities? Do we all face dualities?
Happiness and sorrows,
Yes, very good. Anyone else?
victory and loss,
Victory, loss, health and disease, fame and defaming, etc., etc., young and old. So everyone is going through all these, but Asthita Pragya is fixed. So how does he sit? How does he speak? How does he uh, tolerate the dualities? So now today we will start with the 59th verse. We already covered, I believe, 59, so we'll start with the 60th today. Yeah, the higher taste we were talking about. Is it easy to tolerate to withdraw the senses? It's not so easy to withdraw the senses, correct? But if I say, oh, take this thing higher and give up the lower, then who all will take it? For example, if you have an old phone, 20 years old phone, which hardly works, and someone gives you a brand new latest iPhone or Android phone, will you be happy about it or will you be very upset about it? Happy about it, right? So that's the point. Similarly, when Prabhupada came to United States, people were taking drugs, alcohol, gambling, etc., and thinking that's the highest thing, correct? Because they didn't have anything higher to experience. But when Prabhupada gave them the the magic bullets, referring to the Krishna Prasadam, gave them the chanting of the holy name, gave them the beautiful atmosphere of Krishna consciousness, they all gave up the lower taste. They all became pure devotees. So this was the last point we discussed. Now we'll chant some prayers before we kind of start our official discussion. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you so much to all of you for joining this vaccination session going on. For Prabhupada is giving us the vaccine, Krishna is giving us the vaccine of purification of mind, which is more important than purification of body. So thank you again for being a good devotee of Lord, a good living entity, right? That's what the government says. Because if most people are vaccinated, then the mental problems will be less. Then the problems of lust, anger, greed will be less. Then there will be more good association around in the world. And then we can all defeat these viruses of lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and illusion, which are more deadly and more dangerous than any other thing in the world. Because the viruses of the body will harm the body, but these viruses of the consciousness, will take us to the lower species, which are more dangerous, will take us to the hellish planets, which are more dangerous. So thank you so much again and again for choosing and giving your precious time. So let's start our reading of Bhagavad Gita from text number 60. And the goal is to complete all the verses today. Let's see if Krishna allows that or whatever his plan is. We have read till text number 59 in the last session, talking about higher taste. Text number 60, chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita. यततो हि अपि कौन्तेया पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. Yes, Prakriti, Mataji, you want to read the translation? You raise your hand. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is very, very important. How many of you feel so? How many of you feel that even though we are trying to control the senses, even though we know that something is not good for us, but we are forcibly carried away to do something which we don't want to do, right? It could be eating habit, it could be watching something, it could be doing something, it could be etc. etc. So it is difficult. It is certainly difficult. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that great sages like Vishwamitra Muni doing thousands of years of tapasya, and then Indra sent the Menaka and Apsara, and then all the tapasya was gone. So it's not easy to control the senses just by our own endeavor. Very, very important point. So now one may ask, well, what is the formula then? So by Gyan Marg, by one thinking, no, I am a staunch brahmachari, oh, I am a very, very strict person, then Krishna will take a test. If one is totally dependent on his or her own self, then they will miserably fail. There are multiple examples. Shabri Muni, another example, was doing tapasya under the water. Can you imagine doing tapasya under the water? He saw fishes copulating, and then he developed the desire to enjoy the opposite sex. So, in short, it's not easy. Now, Krishna also gives a solution here, which we will read in the next verse. In the next verses, Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasindriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. Yes, Ravi Prabhu.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Thank you so much. The formula here, the secret formula here is Yukta Asita Matparaha. By engaging senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. If we artificially say, oh, don't show me samosa, don't show me this, don't give me this, don't give me that. The mind is like a monkey. If you tell monkey, don't think of banana, what will be the first thing it will think of? Banana, right? But if you give monkey something better, then he'll be busy in that. That's what our monkey-like mind is. We have to engage in yukta asita matpara. Krishna is saying matpara means in relationship with me. So, say all the senses we have to engage in relationship with Krishna. So can we engage all the senses in relationship with Krishna? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, let's take a quick pop quiz. How can we engage our eyes in service of Krishna? We'll do it quick and fast. Whoever is ready, raise your hand quick and answer. Eyes. Yes, Sampada Mataji.
Darshan of Krishna.
Darshan, very
like
nice.
Going to temples.
Okay, quick. Yes, how can we engage our nose in service of Krishna? Yes, Vipul Prabhu.
Taking smell of the offering flowers.
Yeah, the flowers offered to the Lord, the incense offered to the Lord. Very nice. How about ears? Yes. Yes. Anyone can unmute and speak. Kirtan. Someone said Kirtan. Yes, Anita Mataji said Kirtan, or hearing about Krishna. That we are all using our ears, right? Very nice. How about mouth?
tasting the tulsi leaf and the prasadam.
Tasting
Offered
tulsi leaf and
Talking about
prasadam.
Krishna.
Talking about Krishna, speaking Krishna Katha, chanting, we need our mouth, tongue, right? Very nice. How about legs? Who will answer legs?
going to the
The temple.
Going to
Seva.
the temple. Very nice. Seva of the Lord. Okay, now those who haven't answered will get chance to answer. How about the arms? Those who haven't answered yet. Can we use our arms in Krishna's service?
Cooking prashadam.
Distributing
Cooking.
prasadam.
Distributing prasadam, cooking prasadam. Very nice.
Chanting, Prabhuji.
Chanting, yes. We need
Cleaning. Cleaning
cleaning the
temple.
temple. Very nice. What else? How about intelligence? Can we use our intelligence in Krishna's service? Yes,
Cooking
Avani.
Preaching. Preaching.
Preaching, cooking prasadam. Yes, we need intelligence. So all of you are so wonderful devotees. If we are just absorbed, there's so many different varieties of service in Krishna consciousness. Chanting, hearing, cooking, book distribution, prasad distribution, spreading the holy names, going to the temple. That's exactly our great Amrish Maharaj was doing. Prabhupada is quoting this verse. Savai manah Krishna padara vindayor. Man ko Krishna ki padara vinda. Arvind is lotus. So mind in Krishna's lotus feet. Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. Vacha. Uvacha. Vacha means speaking. Our speaking abilities in. It's talking about Krishna's Nama Rupa Guna Leela, etc. Karaur Tava Kara. Kara means hands. Tava Kara Kamalavari. If someone's phone is not on mute, please keep on mute when you're not speaking. That would be helpful. Karo Harir Mandir Marjinadishu, cleaning the temple of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya, Gundicha margin. So Mandir Marjana. Shrutim Chakar Achyuta Sat Kathodaye. Shravanam. Shrutim Chakar Achyuta. Not hearing about Tom, Dick, Harry, not hearing about soap operas and whatnot. Hearing about Achyuta. Mukunda Linga Alya Darshana Drisho. Eyes in taking the darshan of Mukunda Lingalya. That means the deities, temples, etc. The devotees. Tadbhritya Gatra Sparsha Anga Sangamam. Tadbhritya means they're servants of the Lord. And embracing the devotees. Granam Chatad Pada Saroj Saurabhe. Srimad Tulasi Maharani. Tasting Tulasi Maharani. Srimad Tulasaya Rasanam Tat Arpite. So this is about the fragrance, sorry. The Grihanam Cha. So the fragrance, Tad Pad Saroj Saurabhi. And then Tulasi Maharani, honoring the bhoga, honoring the prasadam, what is offered to the Lord. And we offer to the Lord, we put Tulasi first. So we can honor that remnants as prasad. We can engage our feet in Krishna service by going to Hari Kshetra Padanu Sarpane, going to the temple, going to the kirtan. Even in driving the car, we need, that's also using our feet in Krishna service. Using our head, Shiro, Rishikesha Padabhivandane, to bow down. Every day we should bow down, touch our head, and to bow down for devotees, for Guru Maharaj, for the Vaishnavas, for the Supreme Lord. Kamam chadasya na tu kama kamyaya. Kamam chadasya. That means to serve Krishna. That is our only work. Everything is connected there. Not for acting as per our own whims and fantasy. Yatha uttama shloke jana ratihi. And that way we'll develop attraction towards Krishna and attraction towards devotee. This is basically matparaha. Not saying go to the forest, give up family, just stand on one leg and forget everything else. Is it possible? Would anyone like to opt for that option? No. Right? It's very difficult. Athar, would you like to opt if I say bhakti means go to the forest and just stand on one leg in the forest? Would you like to go and do bhakti there?
I don't know.
You don't know? It'll be difficult, right? There'll be lions and tigers, wild animals, snakes and crocodiles. It'll be very difficult. You'll be scared, right? But if we say, okay, in the home, offer some fruits to the Lord, is it easy? Do you think it's easy, difficult? Raise your hand if you think that it's easy to offer some fruits to the Lord every day, or some water, or some tulasi. It's not that difficult. Raise your hand if you think bowing down, touching our head to the ground in front of the Lord is not very difficult, right? It's not difficult. All these things are very practical. And in that way, our senses will be purified. And in that way, the attachment to doing things which are not conducive to us, which are not favorable for bhakti, will automatically go away. Why? Because we are using our senses in the service of the master of the senses. And this is the formula for sense control, not going in the forest and trying to, do shanti, 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 not going underwater, because the dangers are there as well, like the example of Shobari Maharaj we discussed. So we have to follow the footsteps of King Ambrish Maharaj. Now someone will say, "Oh, I will not follow," right? You must be wondering, what if I don't follow these footsteps? Then let's see what will happen. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगास्तेषु पजायते संगात् संजायते कामा कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहा सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Would someone like to read both the translations together? Yes, Vedi? And then Biraj will read the next one.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Yes, Binayak, Biraj.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you so much. So now this Krishna is saying, if someone does not engage their senses in the service of the master of the senses, what will happen? Let's take this kind of downfall of the jiva in, or the stages of fall down of uncontrolled mind. One who is not matparaha. We discussed matparaha in the last verse. Matpara means to engage our senses and mind in the service of the master of senses, the lord of the senses, that is Rishikesha. We'll take this with the example of Ravana. Okay. So Ravana, first of all, it comes in the thoughts. Okay. First of all is contemplation. Anyone knows who told Ravana about Mata Sita's beauty? Yes, Sampada, Mataji.
Surpanka.
Yes, the sister first saw Shurpanakha, saw Mata Sita's beauty, unparalleled beauty. Who can be more beautiful than Mata Sita? And then Ravana started to contemplate. So the thoughts come in the mind. And here, Sita represents material energy here for the jiva to enjoy, for the Ravana like. And then the contemplation will start. And then Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa. So people meditate upon the sense objects. And what comes? Attachment. Oh, I want to have Mata Sita. He was not thinking like Mata Sita. He was thinking, I want to have her as my wife to enjoy. He had many, many wives already. And great, they were very beautiful, they were very chaste and loyal to Ravana, like Mandodari, etc. But still not happy. From that develops attachment. From attachment develops lust to get something which we don't need to for, because it's like the desires are never ending. But if we keep contemplating on those desires, then we'll develop inclinations to enjoy, to get those things which we may don't need, etc. And then anger, People gave him good advice. Mandodari said, don't try to do that. Even Maricha, who was his well-wisher, he said, you don't know who is Ram. He was given good advice, but it is said, advice given to a foolish person or a person who is puffed up with his own self will only increase his or her anger. And that's exactly what happened. Great people take advice in a positive way, take constructive feedback in a right way, and try to correct themselves. Foolish people, the people who are too puffed up in their own self, who are spiritually blind, they don't take feedback rightly. They consider the person who is giving the feedback as their enemy, like Ravana thought, Maricha, Mandodari, Vibhishana, etc. And then anger. And then his memory, delusion of memory. He couldn't understand what is right, what is wrong. He took the disguise as a saint to kidnap Mata Sita, right? We know that. It's a famous story. And once intelligence is lost, one does not know right and wrong. One thinks the friend as enemy and enemy as friend. Those people who were buttering him, his so-called ministers were buttering him, he thought they are my real friends. And those who were true well-wishers, like Vibhishana and others, he thought they are my enemies. Well, because one loses the sense of right and wrong. One loses the sense of good or bad because intelligence is lost. Intelligence is lost, then one is buddhi nashat pranashyati, one falls down. So friends, this is not just Ravana's story. This is our story as well. It could be contemplation on anything. The formula now, especially in this day and age, the media will throw so many things. The billboard board will throw so many things at us. The only way we can get out of this vicious trap is a vicious trap. Is if we can stop from going from the contemplation stage. If we can, even if the thought comes, not to go in the contemplation stage. Do you agree with that? Because if we go in the contemplation stage, then it will be very hard to get out of this trap. Then it will take us further and further, degrade us. It could be anything. For example, oh, I want a new car. My neighbor got a new car. I want a new car, and it's a brand new $100,000 car or whatnot. Oh, how I wish I had that car. Oh, when I drive this car, now contemplation has started. People will look at me. People will think, oh, he's a very great person. He must be a business tycoon. Oh, look at, people will say, oh, Haribol. They'll not say. People say, all glory, wow, you are wonderful. You are such a great person. And that contemplation is happening. And guess what? What will happen? I'll keep thinking about that car. I will lose all my sanskar and I'll be bekar, right? Thinking about all those things. And what will happen? Intelligence is lost. Then nothing will come in. Only that car will be my vision, right? Ravana could not see. Even people will give good advice like, why do you need a new car? You already have a decent car which is working, solving your purpose. Why do you really need a new car? No, my neighbor has it. I will say harsh words to that person. Hey, you're not my well-wisher. I think if I get this car, you'll be envious. That's why you're speaking like this. So intelligence will be lost. Therefore, the only stage is now we will understand. Now someone will say, well, what if the desires come? No, if I see my neighbor's car, then I really feel I want it. Then we'll talk about that as well. Okay, very soon. Very soon we will talk about it. But for now, let's keep moving to the new or next verse, which is text number 64. Ragadvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyascharan atma vashyir vidheyatma prasadam adhi gachati. Yes, Vinita?
But Hare Krishna. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Prasadam adhigachati. Prasadam here is not the eating prasadam is the mercy of the Lord. Prasadam means mercy. The eating prasadam is also the mercy because it's the remnants of the Lord. But here, that person who's following the regulative principles of freedom. Interesting word. Regulative principles of freedom. Regulation leads to freedom. Uncontrolled senses will never lead to freedom. I'll give an example of driving. Oh, I am a free driver. I can drive at any speed I want. I can drive anywhere I want. What do you think will happen? No rules, no regulations, no speed lights, nothing. I am a free bird. Do you think I'll continue to drive for long? Yes or no?
No.
No. But if I follow the regulations set by the government, that means I follow the traffic signals, I follow the speed limits, I follow whatever the protocols the government has set. That is regulations the government has set for all the drivers. Do you think I'll have the privilege to drive? Yes, yes. Similarly, if our senses, if we just keep doing what we want, then the outcome will not what we want. The outcome will be what the universal government wants. The laws of karma will act. It's not that, okay, I have the right to break all those traffic rules, but I cannot control the consequences of that. Similarly, one has the right to eat, anything they want. One can eat snakes, one can eat cockroaches. The people do eat them, right? I'm not joking, all these people do eat these things. But people eat meat, people drink, people go to casinos and stuff, right? But one will not control the consequences. One has to face. But if one follows the regulations, so we are not saying stop eating or stop sleeping, but everything has to be regulated. And this is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us, that our eating should be regulated, our sleeping should be regulated, our all the activities should be regulated as per the guidelines of the government, as per the guidelines of the manual. If we follow the manual, that is Bhagavad Gita, what we should eat, what we should not eat, what time we should sleep, what time we should get up, which will come very soon, what time we should what kind of people we should associate, what kind of people we should not associate. These are some regulations we have to follow it for our own benefit. What is the one and what are the essence of all rules and regulations? It's very nicely given. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna, nothing else. Very, very important. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Satatam smartavyo Vishnu vismartavya najatachit sarva vidhi nishedasyor etayoreva kinkara. All the rules and regulations are subservient kinkara to one rule, that is to always remember Krishna. We should ask ourselves, will this activity of mine please Krishna or disturb Krishna? Will this help me to remember Krishna or will this take me away from Krishna? Because ultimately, what is the goal of life? To please Krishna, to remember Krishna. So this is the devotees who act as per rules and regulation will receive the complete mercy of the Lord. Prasada adhigachati. Those who act whimsically, they will not get the mercy of the Lord because they don't want, they are not eager for that. They don't want to kind of pay the price of it. So this is about how does he walk, or how does a devotee engage the senses. This is from text 64 onwards. This is the last question or the last answer. Kim Vrajit, how does he walk or how does he respond to sense objects? Now we'll move on to 65. प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिराश्यो पजायते प्रसन्ना चेतसो ह्य आशु बुद्धिया पर्यावस्थिते. Yes, Lakshay, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. This verse has no purport, but very important verse. For one who is happy, satisfied in Krishna consciousness, so sukham kartum avyayam. We should be joyful. Krishna consciousness is not a burden. We should be happy in bhakti. Threefold miseries, Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, and Adi Daivik. The miseries due to one's own body and mind, the miseries due to other living entities, the miseries due to natural calamities will not disturb. Birth, old age, disease, and death will not disturb. That does not mean that a devotee will not get sick, that is not the point. But the devotee will always be satisfied, happy, like how we are reading Amrish Bali Maharaj. He was captured by the Lord, but he's still happy and satisfied. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. That means one who engages in Krishna consciousness. If one is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, what will happen to him or her? Buddhi nashat pranashyati, text number 63. One's intelligence is lost. But if one is engaged, mat paraha, if one is engaged in bhakti, engaging the senses in Krishna's service, that person's intelligence will be fixed. Sthita pragya. That is, we're talking about sthita pragya. Then the intelligence will not bewilder, even if allurements come, like Haridas Thakur. A bad woman came to allure Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was so absorbed in the chanting of the holy names that she could not bother. He was not disturbed. Rather, that lady became the topmost devotee. Isn't that amazing? On the contrary, we see in the life of Vishwamitra Muni how he was disturbed by Menaka, how Shabari Muni was disturbed. Because Haridas Thakur had completely engaged his senses in the service of Master of Senses by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He was Haridas Thakur, he's Haridas Thakur 24 hours chanting. But we can do different activities because we may not be at that level. I am not at that level to chant 24/7, but at least we can do different services. There is so much variegatedness in our Krishna conscious society. There are so many options, young or old, male or female, rich or poor. Everyone and anyone can do multiple services. We have deity worship, we have kirtan, we have prasad distribution, we have cooking, making garlands for the Lord, making different altar and distributing the holy name, inviting friends to the program, deity worship, chanting of the holy names, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, sharing this with others, and distributing prasadam, prayers, cleaning the temple, going to holy places like Vrindavan, Mathura, Mayapur. So much variety, so much, fun. Bhakti is fun, satisfaction, happiness. So that's how we should be absorbed. Nasti buddhir ayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantir ashantasya kutah sukham. Yes, Biraj Prabhu wanted to read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if I simplify or kind of paraphrase this, connection with Krishna will lead to what? Who can answer? Will lead to? Yes, Sampada Mataji.
Happiness.
No, we're going step by step. Step by step.
Transcendental intelligence.
Fixed intelligence. Very nice. What will fixed intelligence lead to, according to this verse? Yes, Viraj.
Peace.
Peace, Shantir. And what will that lead to?
The threefold of miseries will not appear.
Yes, that's from the last verse. They will not appear. Very good. And that person will be
Happy.
happy. Very good. So connection with Krishna, that means once one's mind and intelligence are connected to the Lord, that person will not be disturbed. That person intelligence will be sthit pragya. Remember, we're talking about sthit pragya here all the time. Atmarama, Gita, the A of Atmarama or sthit pragya. That person will be fixed, like Haridas Thakur, like Srila Prabhupada. So many challenges will come, but that person will be fixed. The Prabhupada underwent so many ups and downs, but never disturbed. So our allurements will come. It's not that allurements will not come or distractions. The friends will say, hey, let's do this, hey, let's do that. But one will have the vision clear, the path clear. No, this is not aligned to my goal. This is aligned to my goal. I'll do this. This is not aligned. I will not do this, etc. So, so that is fixed intelligence, and that person will be happy. That person will be peaceful and happy because that person's vision is clear. Otherwise, this person will be, like a pendulum, keep oscillating. Let me do this, let me do that, let me do this, and whatnot. So this verse talks about the happiness formula. Okay, we all want to be happy. We have to go to the root cause. Because a person is not peaceful, they cannot be happy. If a person is intelligence is not fixed, it means oscillating, wavering, chanchala mind, the person will not be peaceful. Have you heard like a peaceful monkey? Doesn't go together, right? Because the monkeys are chanchala. So therefore the mind is also very chanchala. Therefore we have to, and peace doesn't mean just, okay, lie down on the beaches in Florida, peaceful, shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace means Hanuman was peaceful. What do you say? Hanuman was happy. Was Hanuman's intelligence fixed? Was Hanuman's
Yes.
senses
Yeah.
fixed? Absolutely fixed. He was always happy, always chanting the name of Lord Ram. He did extraordinary activities, but he was always happy, peaceful, because his connection with the Sri Ram, his sambandha, as Bhadra Prabhu was mentioning, one whose sambandha will be fixed, that person will not be bewildered in spite of all the ups and downs in life. Very nice. Let's move on because there's one line we will read from Prabhupada's purport. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Isn't that wonderful? It's so deep. Self-manifested peaceful condition. Everyone is wanting peace and happiness, right? Some think, oh, I'll lie down on the beaches and take a sunbath in Florida after retirement. That will give me peace. No. Krishna consciousness self-manifested peaceful condition. Okay, 67. Indriyani hi charatam yano mano anu dhiyate tat asya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi. Who is not read still? Yes, Shreya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. A strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water. Even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
This verse also applies to women also. Just in case if we were wondering, oh, women are excluded from this verse. Just a joke here. So, have you seen boat being carried away by the wind, right? Which boat will carried away by the wind? Any thoughts? Which boat will be carried away by the wind?
Not anchored.
Not anchored. Very nice. And what is that anchor? Fixed intelligence in Krishna consciousness. That is the anchor. If we let our senses loose, no goal, no vision, whatever feel like, let's do it. Okay, friend says, oh, let's go to this bar. Okay, let's go. Okay, one says, let's go to the casino. Okay, let's do it. There's no vision, no direction. Then the person will be like a boat. With the winds, people will say, bad association will say do something. It's important for all, whether you are a 10-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 50-year-old. People, the winds will come, the bad winds will come, which will divert us or try to divert us in wrong direction. Bad association, will come. But if our vision is clear, the boat is strongly anchored, and the captain is good, Guru Karna Dhara, then the boat will move in the direction which the captain wants to move. Correct? Otherwise, the winds will take it away in here and there. The intelligence will be carried away. Maharaj Ambarish's intelligence was not carried away. Correct? Prabhupada's intelligence was not carried away. Haridas Thakur's intelligence was not carried away. Great souls, their intelligence have a strong anchor. So the point is now, Ajamal's story, we know how he saw, women engaged in wrong things with the other drunkard. His intelligence was carried away and he did all sorts of nonsense things later. So very, very important. Now I'll give you some examples talking about senses. Our senses are very powerful, right? You all agree? Senses are very powerful. They can uplift us to the degree we can't imagine, right? Do you agree with that? They can uplift us to the degree we can't imagine. That means by using in the right purpose. And they can degrade also to the degree we can't imagine, right? Eyes, let's talk about eyes. The moths are attracted to the light. And what is that light for them? There's death. The deer is attracted to the smell of sometimes the deer example is given in both in the smell and the sound also. So the deer is attracted to the smell of the kasturi, the musk deer. And then the smell is actually coming from within, but the deer gets captured. So that musk represents happiness. For searching the happiness, the deer is running here and there, but the happiness lies within, the journey within. For getting to unveil the relationship with the sambandha, the connectionship with the Supreme Lord, the deer is running here and there. Same example of a fish. The fish, by the tongue, the bait, they put something, right? Something which the fish likes probably, right? Some of you may be knowing better. I don't know the how it works, but they put some dana, like some grains or something, which fish gets allured to, and that, that bait basically catches the fish, and that's how they fish, right? So the tongue, this one powerful sense, the fish is, it gets attracted to the sense of taste. Elephant, how elephant is captured. The she elephant is trained, and the she elephant will, touch the body of the male elephant and then pass on, and then the male elephant will run behind it, and then the she elephant is trained to kind of take a detour, but the male elephant doesn't know this, and there's a ditch inside, and then he'll go and fall in the ditch and get caught. That's how they catch the big elephant, the power of touch. So these these animals have one sense strong. What is the most powerful sense in human beings? Any thoughts? In Yes, Biraj.
Our eyes.
Our eyes. Actually, all the senses are very, very powerful, right? We are not, these mammals, some sense is powerful. One sense is very powerful. But for the humans, all senses have the power to degrade us. Some people can get degraded by sight, by hearing, by nose, etc. So we have to be very, very careful. Like how Shabari Muni saw the fishes copulating and developed desire to enjoy the senses. So there are multiple other such examples also. Now, on a positive note, the senses also have the power to uplift us unlimitedly. Like hearing. Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days. He used his senses of hearing to hear Krishna Katha and purified himself completely and attained the love of Godhead. You know the story of Parikshit Maharaj. Shukdev Goswami was speaking 7 days, unalloyed, just absorbed, you know, Pibat Bhagavatam Rasam Alayam, absorbing the nectar of Bhagavatam. This was Parikshit Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj hearing the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Shukadev Goswami. So, in short, we have to regulate our senses in the service of the master of senses, otherwise they will just carry us away and then we will be misled. So this is the formula how to control the senses. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvasha indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratisthita. Yes, Athar?
Prabhuji, can I read?
Oh, yes, Neera, please.
Therefore, Almighty armed one who those senses are restrained from the other.
Oh, you got on mute, Neera. Can you unmute, please? Thank
And
you.
I
Thank you. We'll give chance to everyone first. At least everyone should be able to read once. Thank you, Neera. You got a haircut. You look beautiful, as always. So I think we discussed this point again and again. Restraining from the objects which are not conducive. That does not mean that we have to, stop eating, stop, seeing anything. Can we do that? Is it possible? Is it practical? Don't see anything. Some people say don't, they put a mask on. Don't speak anything. Maun vrata. Don't see anything. Close our eyes. Don't hear anything. Is it possible? If that would have been the case, why would Krishna give us the senses? So the point here is not to stop the senses, but to engage them in the service of the master of senses, and that is the formula to engage them from the wrong things to the right things, from the lower pleasure to higher pleasure, from unrestricted eating, sleeping, mating, defending to the regulations, regulative principles of freedom, which we already discussed, Savai Mana Krishna Pada Aravindayo, like Amrish Maharaj. That will lead to Sthita Pragya. That will lead to happiness. That will lead to peace. That will lead to fixed intelligence. So we'll keep moving with the next verse. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha sa pashyato munehi. Yes, who has not yet read Athar? I think you want to read. Go ahead.
What is night for all beings? It is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, thank you so much. So, very interesting words. That what is day for a devotee is night for a non-devotee, and what is night for a devotee is day for. So that means what is a day night? Like now, is it like evening time? Let's say in US. So is it not evening time for non-devotees? I mean, the point is, when are they active, right? Have you ever wondered all these bars, casinos, and stuff? Why they don't open at morning 6 a.m.? Why they just open, they're more active in the night 12, 1, 2 a.m. And then when the devotees are getting up in the Brahma Muhurta 3 or 4 a.m., 5 a.m., etc., and all these, the materialistic people, they go to sleep. Do you know? Have you seen? Have you experienced? In the college where I was studying, and I'm sure we may have experienced this, we would go for some morning program, and at that time people we end up their nocturnal activities and they go to sleep, and they would ask me, hey, you're still awake? I said, yeah, I just got up. So the point is, in the night time is the night. Krishna has designed this system that the daytime is the mode of goodness. The Brahma Muhurta hours is the time to strengthen ourselves spiritually. It is a gift given by the Supreme Lord every day. So we should not try to miss it. We should try to be active in that time, because at that time mind is less agitated. That we are not thinking about office. Probably the small children are also sleeping, for those who have small children, and the office thoughts, the home cooking is also not, no one does cooking at like 5 a.m. I hope. I mean, all the activities are start little later, right? So the morning time especially is a very, very good time for one who wants to make spiritual progress. All the holy scriptures say this, and some of you may be aware. If not, it's a good time for me to share that we have this morning japa session, because Yuga Dharma is chanting of the holy name. This is the process given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. So we do this morning chanting from 5 to 7 a.m. And you can join at any time you want. You can join at 5:30, you can join at 5, you can join at 6, you can join at 6:30, anytime. Kids join 6:30 Eastern time. They can also join before if they want to, but it really helps. It really helps. And then we read a bhajan and a story as well from 6:50 to 7 o'clock, and then some prayers. So I would encourage my dear friends, you don't have to stay for the whole hour or 2 hours. Whatever time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, start. Well, begin is half done. Start your day early morning, and I'm telling you, thousands of devotees have experienced this, and thousands, you will continue to experience it. That if you start your day early, if we start our day early, and that too by the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, you will feel a miraculous, difference in your day. The day will not be the same. All the activities, I think Ravi Prabhu was telling the other day, that the day feels so better, the day feels longer. On the contrary, if someone starts their day at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., the precious morning hours are gone. The day will be lazier. The day will not go fine. Have you experienced that? If you start your day very late, you'll feel, well, where did the time go? So we don't have to get up late or go to bed late. Early to bed, early to rise. It's very, very important for bhakti, for good health, for good well-being. It's not just for spiritual health, even for material health. It's very important, because that's how the nature has designed this cycle. If we try to go it against it, it will not be good for body's health, what to speak of mental and spiritual health. So in short, we should go to bed on time and get up on time. Generally, I'm not saying these numbers for everyone, but generally 6 to 7 hours sleep is sufficient for most. Kids may do a little extra if they want in the daytime. And if someone is unwell or sick, then it's fine to take a little extra rest. But generally, 6 to 7 is more than sufficient for average person. Um, and 10 to 4, 10 to 5, or 10:30 to 4:30, 10:30 to 5, that's a good time. Little bit here and there, but let's try to kind of follow that routine. It will help everyone. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says there are two kinds of intelligence. One is material intelligence, other is spiritual intelligence. So materialistic people, they're busy in material life. Spiritual people, they do everything which will help them to grow spiritually. So last few verses. Apuryamanam achala pratishtham samudra apaha pravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sa shantim apnoti na kamakami. Yes, who has not read yet wants to read translation? Yes, Abhishek, Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very nice point here. So the desires are compared to the rivers here. Okay. People will say, oh, why don't you do this? Oh, so the desires may come in a sadhaka stage. It's don't feel kind of too negative about yourself if if one may get desires. Even Vishnu Shila, what's the Yamunacharya? Yamunacharya is saying, whenever I get desire of enjoying with the opposite sex, I spit at that thought. So the point here, Prabhupada also mentions here. One I've highlighted in my book. It's hard to highlight it here. Okay, Krishna consciousness man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all the materialistic desires, all the material necessities as well. He has firm faith in the Lord. Therefore, he is like an ocean, always full in himself. One who is full in himself will not run hither and thither. Oh, let me get that. Oh, let me do this. Oh, let me do this. Oh, I don't want to be missed out on this thing. Because he has the best thing in life, the connection with the Supreme Lord, the eternal thing. So he doesn't feel like, oh, because he's so full, right? Let's say, what does this full mean? Let's say you just had a wonderful Krishna Prasad with nice delicacies, right? Um, like, whatever your favorite preparations in prasadam, gulab jamun and pakoda and rasmalai and paneer and whatever you like, pizza, whatever, mac and cheese, whatever you like. There's someone like Bankim Prabhu served you a nice feast to you. Mm. And then you are so full, correct? Your belly is full, your heart is full, your mind is full, consciousness is full. And then someone comes up, you go outside, and then a neighbor comes up. Hey, would you like to eat this chocolate, uh, or this thing I got from outside? What will you say? You'll politely say no, right? Because you're so full in yourself, right? Do you agree with that? Because there's no desire to eat or do something which is not conducive. That is the point here. Like an ocean, all the rivers come in the ocean, but the ocean never overflows. This is the point here. So the point is that is a proof of a Krishna conscious man or woman, one who has lost all inclinations for material gratification. Although the desires may be present, very important point. The desires may be present, okay, but the inclination, those will not act on those desires. I gave the example of a car, your neighbors getting car. One may get the desire, oh, how I wish, but the intelligence is so strongly nourished by good association, by Bhagavad Gita. One will say, well, do you really need that? Will it help you in your bhakti? Will it help you to strengthen your connection with the Lord? And then contemplation will stop. But if one does not have fixed intelligence, then the desires will lead to contemplation. Then dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu pachayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vichayate krodat bhavati samo, as a one step after the other. Smriti brahmasad buddhi nasho pranashyati, and the end. One will fall down. So contemplation has to pause. Even if the desires come, even if let's say one sees a billboard which is not, supposed to be seen, can we stop? Or like driving on the road and a bad content comes. You're going even, these days ads on YouTubes and stuff, a lot of things which are not good for us to see, but they still come up. What can we do? One thing we can, okay, keep moving. Something came which I was not supposed to see, I'll keep moving. Sthita pragya. The other option is, oh, how I wondered if this thing was with me. Oh, my neighbor also has that. Oh, he's also free. contemplation began. Then we'll keep thinking and keep thinking, and then pranashyati. So this is the point here. Let desire come, you have to keep moving. And no contemplation on them, not acting on those desires. This is a symptom of a devotee. Last two verses. Vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumam sharati nispraha nirmamo nirahankaraha sa shantim adhigachati. Yes. Vikant Prabhu, you want to read?
Shubha, thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada Ki Jai. A person who has given up all the desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all senses of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So in the last two verses, basically Krishna is summing up this chapter, which he has answered so many questions: how to control the senses, how to act, how to restrain the senses, and giving up the desire for sense gratification, not acting on those inclinations, not acting on the inclinations which are not conducive for our spiritual growth, living a regulative life. Regulation leads to freedom. Regulation will lead to freedom from this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. Not whimsically acting, not what I feel like I'll eat, what whatever I just. Those who act whimsically, they never. Ya shastravidim usrijya vartate kam karatah na siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gati. Bhagavad Gita, last verse of 16th chapter, text 24, Krishna says, those who act whimsically, on their own inclinations, they will never achieve happiness, they will never achieve sukha, they will never achieve any back home, back to Godhead. So, Prabhupada mentions real desirelessness is desire for satisfaction of Krishna, not an artificial attempt to abolish desires. Very, very important. So what does desirelessness mean? Desirelessness does not mean to have no desires. Desirelessness means to not have material desires. We can have spiritual desires. We were talking about a bhajan today, right? Moraye abhilash vilas kunje diyovas nayane harivo sada yugala rutarasi. So many bhajans are there. Krishna, give me a chance to serve you. Right? Give me that eagerness to chant. When will my eyes choke up? When will my voice choke up when I call your holy name? When will my when my eyes full of tears? These are spiritual desires. Eagerness to chant, eagerness to serve devotees, eagerness to serve with enthusiasm. So that we can certainly pray, that we should pray. This is our process of bhakti, not to artificially, oh, nothing, just shanti, shanti, shanti. Don't do anything, don't talk to anyone, don't speak anything, just that is not bhakti. Last verse, 72, the chapter will end here. Isha Brahmi Sthita Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuyati Sthitavasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvanam Rachati. Yes. Anyone? Yes, Megha Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, if one follows all these formulas, we discussed a lot of things today. How to engage our senses in the service of the master of senses, what to do when desires come, how to stop contemplating on those desires, how to always think of Krishna's pleasure, how to be sthita pragya, If one is following this throughout this one's life, then guess what will be one's consciousness at the time of death? Whatever we do at the time of during our life will be the consciousness at the time of death also. Yes or yes? Yes. And guess what? If we don't do it, if we don't do so, then what will be our consciousness? Our consciousness will be materialistic, correct? If throughout the life, if one is doing something, then let's say one's consciousness is how to expand my business, growth, profit, vyavasaya apne kha behtar. But the growth, the mindset is just money, 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 money. At the time of death, one will think of money, and one will become multiple stories and pastimes in this regard. But one will get that wrong consciousness. One will become maybe a worm. One will become an animal body. I want to share a video with you, which is quite funny, but it has a deep lesson as well. So I want to share this with you. It's sad, it's funny at the same time. So just watch it because I think you may appreciate the essence. You may have seen it, but it's a short one. I have not turned on the sound, but I think you'll get the point here. This had a Bollywood kind of song in the background. It said "Chodenge na tera saath, marte dam tak." I'll not part with you till the last breath of my life. Marte dam tak nahi, agle janam tak. Life after life, I'll not give you up. And what was this person doing? Some of you may not get. He was, doing this. Yes, Ravi Prabhu will tell. What was he doing?
It's called gutka, sir. Khani. Khani kha raha tha. It's like a gutka. It's like you
tobacco, right? Tobacco, right? Like intoxication.
Intoxication.
This person, you saw his situation. Probably he was in a very miserable situation. Oxygen, and the nurses are trying to help and feeding oxygen. But one thing, never give up. Marte dam tak nahi chhodenge. We can take inspiration in a spiritual way, right? This person is so much attachment for something he likes. Why? Because throughout his life, he did that. He cannot give it up in this life. What at the time of death, what to speak of time of death? He said, "Oh, agle janam tak nahi chhode. I'll not give this thing till the next life." So can we not learn a spiritual lesson here? Did he develop this habit just 2 months back? What do you think? Or did he develop this habit maybe 20, 30 years and has been doing that, right? So therefore, it's a very nice lesson. Similarly, if we also develop habit in whatever age is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, 40, 50, the right time is now. We have already spent some time not being Krishna conscious. Some have spent few decades, some have spent few years. Some of you are still very young, which is great because that's what Prahlad Maharaj says, Kumara Charit Pragyo. Because if we start this process at the right age, which is right now, then what will happen at the time of death? We will, by default, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then one will surely enter the kingdom of God. Yad gatva narivartante tad dhama paramam mama. That is the verdict of the Supreme Lord. That is the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is very, very powerful chapter. If someone understands just this chapter and just follows it, Rest all are details actually. We covered all the essence of Bhagavad Gita in this chapter. That doesn't mean we should not read other chapters, because we are conditioned soul. I'm conditioned soul. Even after reading, hearing, even sharing, if I don't do this regularly, this vaccination is required every week or every day rather. Some vaccinations, polio, corona, this, that, may be required after, once in a lifetime, or some say after every 6 months or whatnot. But spiritual vaccination is required every day. It is very, very safe, no side effects, but it is required every day. If we do it, then surely we'll be free. We'll not get contaminated by the viruses of lust, anger, greed, envy. If we don't do it, then they are waiting to attack us. So I'll pause here. We have last few minutes. We can take some comments, thoughts. And this is the GITA, remember, chapter 2, need spiritual master. We cannot solve our problems on our I for identity, Atma, Paramatma, Jiva, body, soul, we discuss in great detail. T for two duties, conditional duties, constitutional duties, go hand in hand, two parallel tracks of a train, and they both can become spiritual if one has that consciousness to always please Krishna, and then that will lead slowly to the stage of Atmarama, how to stay away from the bad desires, how to engage senses in the master of senses, what to do when opposite forces come, tortoise, the ocean example, tortoise example, the boat example, we all discussed that. And then one will be happy, satisfied, peaceful, yet good, and go back home, back to Godhead. That's a quick 2-minute summary. We can take some thoughts, comments, questions in this. If anyone wants to share, add, ask. Anyone wants to say something or ask something? Something really struck you? Something inspired you? No one?
So, Harjun Prabhuji, I have one question. Or like Prabhupada, who is a pure devotee and spiritual Krishna consciousness since birth, so even he's meeting with his sister, he's always keeping a third person always. So it looks like even we read Gita and doing chanting and try to be pure devotee, we have to guard always and be humble, because otherwise we may fall prey to this. But there are many situations may come, as you said, that pop up different videos and those things. So there is no third person in that time or somewhere there. So, and if Prabhupada is that much protective and when somebody is not there, how can we protect ourselves? Being so low quality devotees. Myself, I'm talking about myself.
Did everyone understand the question? Put a thumbs up if you understood the question. No? No, okay. I'll share, kind of paraphrase the question. So the question is, while dealing with opposite sex, it is a very good idea and safe idea to have a third person. Prabhupada followed that principle as well, especially in when in India, like when his sister would come, then Prabhupada would have some disciple as well. This is because the Shastras also say this, that one should not be alone with even one's sister and mother, what to speak of anyone. This is Shastra's verdict. So because the senses are very wild. So the point here is that yes, as Vipul Prabhu said, in this day and age, it may not be feasible and practical in many situations. So we have to always remember that yes, there is a third person actually, always witnessing. Bhagavatam says that, and that third person is Paramatma. That Krishna is watching me. If we have that in our mind, then we'll never feel alone. Because this is a very important. Krishna is always watching me. He's watching my thoughts. He's watching my actions. He's watching. I can hide from you. I can hide from Ravi Prabhu. I can hide from Ekant Prabhu. What I do, at home. I can hide from my wife, and I can hide from my friends and relatives. But can I hide from the Supreme Lord? I can never hide. So that one thing should be clear, that Krishna is watching and Guru Maharaj is watching me at all times. So at all times, I have to always be cognizant of that fact that Krishna and Guru are watching. Will they be happy if I think like this, or if I do like this? Will they be happy about my action or thought? If the answer is yes, wonderful. Lord Hanuman also had a tough situation when he was going and for searching for Mother Sita. It was a dharma sankat for him. Being a brahmachari, he was seeing, different queens who were, in their, night clothes or very little clothes, etc. And Hanuman, being a staunch brahmachari, was saying, "What am I doing here? Am I, breaking my principles? What is this the right thing for?" He also deliberated. Deliberation is important. And then he said, "My goal is here not to see this woman. My goal is here to serve Lord Ram." He thought, and he reconciled his intentions. My intentions are pure. Lord Ram's blessings with me. And then keep moving. So Krishna will guide also. Krishna will guide. And yes, there would be instances we would be not be with someone kind of like our other friend or etc. But Krishna is there. The third person is there. Paramatma never leaves. We have heard this. Paramatma is always present. Krishna is always present with us. We are never alone. If we have to develop and strengthen that relationship, that consciousness, then we'll never feel alone. Then we'll never feel. But as you said, we are not at that level. So it's in most situations one should understand these are for that they should not take it for granted and stop and just think ourselves, "Oh, I can handle this situation. I can." Prabhupada also said when that when his devotees were doing a kind of a kirtan in a rock concert, Prabhupada, this is not a place for a brahmachari. So Prabhupada did warn that. Prabhupada also said that someone asked Prabhupada, "How do you not fall prey to Maya?" Prabhupada said, "Because I pray that Krishna, please don't let me fall prey to Maya." We should have a healthy fear is important. Healthy fear is important. I should not think, "Oh, I'm a devotee for 10 years. Now I can do anything I want." A healthy fear is important. If we let ourselves be too much exposed to the environment which is not conducive, guess what? Because I am not at that level of pure devotee, sooner or later I'll fall. But if the good association is very strong and healthy, the instances like Ajamil will not shake that person. But if one is totally exposed to instances like Ajamil and good association is not, like good dog, bad dog, if one's good dog is nourished very strongly, good association, good hearing, chanting, reading, etc., one or two instances of bad dog, being fed, let's say, examples I gave, then but the good dog is strong, it will not allow the bad dog to, jump over it. The good dog will have the strength to say, "No, it's not good for you. Say no to it. Keep moving." But too much exposure to bad things, too much exposure to sense gratification, to bad dog is getting stronger, and chanting less, bhakti less, good association less, bad dog will take over. So,
Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts, comments, additions, questions? Okay, so we will pause here. It's already past 7, and we have completed chapter 2. So next session we'll start with a chapter 3. I encourage for those who are reading, please keep reading. You can read up till 15th verse, and then we'll see you all next week. And sharing is caring. Please keep passing that message. Share with others, and who can also, because this is a real vaccination required for all. So please pass on. This is free, and this is available at home. No side effects. No Krishna's guarantee. tried and tested. Everything is very safe here, right? So please share with everyone if you really care for them. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita Upanishad ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhaktarinda ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namo. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hari
Prabhuji.
Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.